A lot of people say Internet of Things is science fiction, but actually I think it's a bit more business fact these days. You've got probably 20 billion devices that will be connected by the year 2020. I think we're going to easily surpass that. We could be up towards 50 billion. So it's definitely something that I think housing organisations need to think about. The other question I always get asked is, well, what can it be done in social housing? Is it useful? Well, I think when you start looking at things like safeguarding, if you look at things like monitoring humidity, damp, temperature, things like that, there's definitely technology out there. And Capita's been doing a lot of work with social housing providers to actually create proof of concepts. So we've had proof of concept working live with one of our customers, Two Castles, for about 6 to 9 months. So we can actually prove the technology works, which is a good thing. What I always get asked is as well, show me the money. Where is the return on investment? And I think if you look at processes along abandonment and voids, if we look at having to deal with damp, and potentially no access through gas or just general repairs. Having sensors in properties that can tell us that someone's actually in the property could allow us to maybe change the way we do things, work from maybe a reactive repairs to responsive repairs. So something definitely that social housing providers should think about.
Plans that I've got for the future are mainly around the Internet of Things. I'm starting to look at the business case for installing sensors in properties, social housing properties, that can measure things like vibration, noise levels, dust, carbon monoxide, methane, those kind of things, and provide that information back to the landlord so that they can make decisions about how they manage their assets.
I can tell if somebody's got out of bed and made a brew that morning, or they've done normal things that they do.
It will allow us to remotely monitor boilers. It will allow us to remotely monitor whether there's movement in assisted living homes, all of that side of things, that will mean that there is less requirement for physical checks.
These things are becoming more and more mainstream, and I think social housing tenants will have all these things within the next 18 to 24 months.
Internet of Things, it's a big buzzword, but I think now we're in a position where we've got a fully fledged production environment that we can deliver to customers. I think there's excellent return on investment opportunities for our customers to save money by implementing our smart homes solution. I think Internet of Things is quite a difficult one because it's not proven yet. So it's all very new, it's new technology, and we believe there are efficiency savings, but we obviously have to prove it, and therefore you have to have the kit in place to actually be able to say, actually, you're going to save 80k per annum based on the fact that you've had a no entry visit, but from using sensors you were able to enter the property because you knew that the tenants were actually in the property. So it's really a case of suck it and see, and it's quite exciting times. The POC that we carried out at Two Castles Housing Association a year ago, we've had some interesting data returned back from the sensors. Some of it is what you'd expect. Things like temperature in a kitchen, it naturally rises during lunch times and dinner times. But then others we've found, where there's increased humidity, which therefore in turn could lead to damp, and therefore it's proactive because the housing association can act on the fact that they're just checking whether there is any sign of damp and prevent any more sort of repair costs that could be incurred if they didn't do something about it.
Currently, every landlord has to send somebody out in a van once a year to inspect the gas supply in the property. I think within 18 months we could be looking at a situation where we don't need to do that anymore, where there are sensors in the gas boiler to tell you whether it's performing within its limits and whether its capabilities and whether or not it's about to break down. And all of that information can be sent back electronically, so that you don't have to send them out in a van to check that it's safe anymore. And instead of checking the appliance once a year by sending them out in a van, you can check it in effect once an hour, 365 days a year, which has got to be a much safer way of doing things.
I think primarily to do with services, say boiler service in assisted living.
I would see the Internet of Things being most useful to pure homes around the maintenance side of things. So we'll be looking at sensors on boilers, we'll be looking at sensors in the properties that will identify whether there is an increase in, say, damp, whether heating hasn't been on for a certain period of time, and all of those things, when taken in conjunction with what's happening in the seasons and what's happening with normal patterns, can indicate if there is an issue.